and gentlemen, badgers and bandicoots, buffheads and bludgers, it's party night. It's time to dance. It's time to pants. It's time to blow into the bug house. Tonight, Roy and HG's Bug House, where the beers are cold and the spirits are hot, features Ensemble, the Nissan Cedrics.
This is the end of our stay. We'd love to stay for just another day. Thank you all for all that you've done, for keeping the Bug House your number one.
And sniffing out the seafood, Britain's brand new Bee Gees. Ah, yes, and now give a big Bug House burst to our hosts this evening. Those cunning cats of Caister, those cruising cobras of Cromer, those Norman Knights of Norfolk, Anglia's own rampaging Roy Slaven, and H.G. Nelson!
Enough. Yes, thanks very much, Alistair Duval. Thanks very much, Nissan Cedrics. Thanks very much, Britain's brand new Bee Gees. Cooey customers, welcome to Club Buggery, or should I say Roy and HG's Bug House on a night when too much variety is barely enough. And tonight, Roy and HG's Bug House comes to you live from the Spice Girls Split Scare here in the marvellous surrounds of the Sainsbury's Centre at Norwich. And to torture you with another week of action, danger, romance and adventure, let's simply ask rampaging Roy Slaven, which issue have you plucked from the tissues this week, pal?
Thank you very, very much, H.G. Nelson. Michael Schumacher.
Yes.
This week, Michael Schumacher was lashed by the FOC with a feather. With a feather. If I had my way, I'd have the bloke strapped inside one of those baby Mercedes.
Oh, yes.
Doing a... Doing nothing but a moose avoidance test for the next 6 years with Bernie Ecclestone by his side, Tony Blair in the back door, smoking a fag. That's what I'd have him doing. Typically German. Can't go in curves. No understanding of curves.
Yes.
Now, don't understand the circle, only understand straight lines.
Now, the moose avoidance test, Roy, what is it?
Well, turning corners. Quickly.
And why do you need
I've never known a German car to be able to do that.
Why do you need
All your Mercedes to get rid of the bloody mooses. They're always coming out, especially in Sweden. Mooses everywhere.
Have you heard of
more
this?
mooses than people.
Have you heard of this test before?
Never.
No. And with
But
that,
I like it.
Yes, yes. And with that as a way of setting the scene here in the Scare, it's time to welcome a man who loved to go the tonk when he was out in front of the furniture, and he loved it so much he used to keep tonking at things when the finger was put in the air. Nissan Cedrics, can you, let's face it, bring up the three figures with a 6? And when stumps are declared, can you score the Alan Lamb story?
Batting at 6, straight back few snicks, Alan Lamb. Batting at 5, watch him survive. Alan Lamb. Bat him at 4, bat him at 3, bat him at lunch, he'll be there at tea. He was the gun, his team's number 1. Alan Lamb, Alan Lamb.
Yes. Alan, let's go back to 1984. It was a dry summer. The West Indies were here and you had a marvellous streak with the bat. Let's have a look at 3 tons in 3 tests. I think the first one came up pretty easily. Malcolm Marshall, you might have been bowling here. Look at how dry And you've got to remember, this is England. You drive him straight back past the bowler. Don't they hate that? And then you get one square of the wicket there to bring up a ton. Look how dry it is. It's incredibly dry. It's past. Here you are doing a passable Ian Botham impression with the hair and everything. Next test, big Joel Garner, you get one away. He's so easy to put away like that, though, isn't he? Then Michael Holding again, and you get another test. Another ton there, and there you are taking the salute there in the plaudits of the crowd. And finally, I think you get one off your pads here, and that brings up a third test. 3 tests, 3 tons. Tremendous. Now, Roy and I have read your autobiography, and an autobiography written by Jack Bannister, I notice. And what did Jack do for you in the autobiography?
Well, I got Jack, and I said, please write it, Jack. I'm going away for 3 months. I left Jack there to do it. So
are you happy with the result?
Like? I don't know.
It's not bad. It's not a bad read. It's a lot about cheating in the game. Look, let's face it, I want to mount a bit of a thesis. You know, everyone cheats at cricket, and only idiots get caught. Now, is that a fair summation of where we are with the modern game?
I know, look at poor Atherton. I mean,
Yes.
how can the England captain be caught like that?
Well, it's dreadful.
I know.
Now,
And if that was Ian Botham, they would accuse him of growing his own in his pocket, wouldn't they?
Indeed, yes, right. And smoking his own while he was bowling and batting.
Well, he knows.
Now, look, Roy and I enjoyed cheating because you get marvellous what's called reverse swing, for those who know a little bit about the game. And I think that we could go, you know, if we're looking for mystery balls, if we're looking for things coming into the game of cricket, I think we've got to let cheaters off the leash to see what they can do with a couple of drawing pins in the pocket, what they can do with a bit of Vaseline and a bit of KY jelly in uncertain spots to make this ball talk. Alan.
Well, it's great. I mean, you know, I think, you know, the laws are very strict on it. You know, nowadays carrying Coca-Cola bottle tops and knives and this type of thing. It sort of goes with the game, but I don't think the sort of ECB like those sort of rules. And
Who was the worst cheat you came across in the game of cricket?
oh, that's hard. I think my great mate Safraz, he was a great guy, but you know, he had all the tricks of the trade. He was a fine cricketer, a fine bowler, but
And a fine cheat.
well, I think everyone did. You know, every bowler used to have a little bit of Vaseline, or he was picking the seam or doing it. But the big thing is you've got to get caught.
Yes.
So it's the whole big thing. Do it till you get caught, and when you get caught, put your hands up in the air. But don't say I wasn't doing it.
That's true.
Safraz Nawaz, he was one of the great cheats of all time, wasn't he? An absolute cheating, cunning, foxy dog of a cheat, wasn't he?
Oh, no, you can't say that about poor Saf. I think Saf's a lovely guy.
Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this originally called Silence of the Lamb, this book? Which I thought was a terrific title. I was expecting, you know, a lot of blank pages and some pictures.
Yeah, well, we tried to silence it so, you know, I could sort of bring it out and the board wouldn't sort of suspend me. But what happened is...
So when did you change the title? Why did you change the title to Alan Lamb, My Autobiography, when it could have been Silence of the Lamb?
By Jack Bannister.
Yes.
Now, chaps, that is the paperback. You haven't got the hardback.
The hardback is Silence of the Lamb.
Is Silence of the Lamb.
Ah, thank you very much. That's cleared that up.
Okay.
Now, how often did you play legless? Because you could really put it away. I've spoken to a lot of... You know, on a big night, how many pints could you put away?
I wouldn't.
A dozen?
I wouldn't believe what you hear, but you're probably quite right. I can't remember.
A dozen pints, and then you
know,
turn
some
up.
of these matches we played, it was great. We just played by memory. I mean, I loved the one-day competitions. You know, those one days that started in Aussie was great.
Yeah.
You go out and have a skinful till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Wake up at 12 o'clock.
Yes.
Put those blue pajamas on and out you go at 3 o'clock. It was brilliant in the afternoon. But
So with the one-day games, you could sleep in a little longer.
oh, we could sleep till lunchtime. But
Yeah.
then, you know, the new regime came in. We had to go for training in the morning. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, that was appalling when that...
You did your training between midnight and 4 in the morning.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We burned a hole in our shoe on the floor, I can tell you.
Now, substances. You say here, when you were in New Zealand, for example, that you couldn't believe how common it was for people to get stoned with marijuana and probably hashish. And wasn't there an incident where hash cookies might have been made, or marijuana cookies?
You've been reading this book, haven't you?
I've read the book. Now, how many cookies did you have?
Well,
And did it affect your cricket? Did it affect your timing?
no, what was very funny that night is that how everyone got out of it, but no one knew. I didn't know till about sort of 3 weeks later. This great friend of ours, we asked her to sort of cater for the party. And we had everyone there from the hierarchy, you know, all the test players and who's who of Sydney there, and everyone was totally out of it. And I wondered what was going on. Anyway, none of my team, couldn't have had any of these cookies. I had a few. I scored runs the following day. They didn't, so I told them. But I only found out 3 weeks later what this woman had done. She had spiked the whole cookies. Terrible. I mean, I wouldn't have never touched it.
Who was...
You've never inhaled either, have you, Alan, when it's been your turn and it's been absentmindedly passed by, say, Ian Botham or, you know, Mike
Oh, no,
Atherton
Ian's
along the
very
line?
anti-smoking.
He is, yes. You've never inhaled. You've just sort of...
No,
put
I
it
used
near
to
the-
just smell it.
Yes.
Who is it, you know?
Who was the dealer in the team? Who
Well, it depends on what manager we travelled with, really. He was very good, yeah.
And, say, Gunja, as I think they call it in other places on the planet. How did the Gunja, say, in the Caribbean compare, say, with your New Zealand green?
Well, they tell me that it's supposed to be very good in the Caribbean, but, you know, being a top sportsman like us, we didn't sort of get involved in that unless our cookies were spiked, you see. We didn't know what we were doing then.
Right, I see.
Now, please, Roy, you know.
Now, can we talk about sledging? I think in you know, newspaper reports and so on, you claim that Australians were pretty good at sledging until Alan Border came along in about 1990 and sort of stamped it all out.
No,
you know...
he never stamped it out, let me tell you. You're still the best at sledging.
Yes.
And it still goes on Australia. But I think it's great. I mean, I believe you can have sledging to a, you know, certain amount. I don't believe sort of go and sort of give the umpire abuse or kick the stumps down. But it's great, you know. I mean, Dennis Lilly, the first time I played against Dennis Lilly, I mean, Dennis was great because when he bowled, you know, his run up, he ended up next to you. And he used to sort of be very polite and tell you how to bat and what you were doing wrong. After playing and missing and he's pulling his hair out. And, you know, one of his great lines, he says, listen, mate, you keep the bat still, I'll aim at it. You know, it's one of those.
And how off-putting is a line like that? I mean, how do you prepare? I mean, that is obviously a line that would floor most batters around the world. You know, keep the bat still and I'll hit it. I mean, that is a shocking line, isn't it? Anybody see? Well, how do you cope with a line like that?
You know, as a batter, you try not. And then I remember my first game I arrived in Australia, 82. I got there taking guard, and all of a sudden, this voice from the back, Rodney Marsh, you got any family, mate? I thought, yeah, what's wrong? I turned around, I nodded yes. He said, well, that's the last time you'll be seeing them again, you know. And it was, you know, great sort of confident booster I got there, you know. And there's Dennis Lilly about to kick off from the side screen. I mean...
What can we do about cricket in this country, Alan? It's buggered, isn't it? It's what can we do? We've had to resort to getting in bloody ordinary players like the Holyoake brothers to fill out the team. Surely there are young kiddies in this country who want to get out, wear the creams and hit a ball and bowl and field, who can do it, who are being held back.
Well, they are the young ones, the Hollyoaks. But they come from
But they're
somewhere
coming from
else.
Australia.
Oh, right, Australia.
Get rid of the deadwood. There are too many bloody old, last year's model sort of players choking up the game.
You're totally right. That's what the thing. We need just a new...
We need someone with someone cruel at the top. Are you the man, Alan?
Do you think the ECB are going to employ me?
I'd love them to.
Chance.
Look, Alan, Roy and I have mounted a thesis often. You know, you've got to, you know, looking at it from an outside an English perspective, you've got to say, thanks very much, England, for inventing the game. Now bugger off till you can play it. Now, is that I believe that, say, maybe 5 or 10 years where you just sat in that room of mirrors, this is English cricket, and had a good hard look at yourselves, is just the tonic that you need.
No, that's being a little harsh. That's being a little harsh. Come on, guys. Just because you're playing good cricket at the moment, don't get carried away, please.
And betting. Just to finish up with betting, you know, there's been a big scandal in Australia over the last couple of years concerning various matches played on the subcontinent where large sums of money appear to or might have exchanged hands to influence the result. What do you know about betting in cricket? People must have approached you over the years, Alan.
Well, lucky enough, it sort of hasn't happened while I've played, but over the last couple of years, we've read some serious stories, what has been going on with especially down in sort of Pakistan and India and these countries that there's these big scams. Some of their players have been saying that they were dropped because they didn't want to take part in a bet. Now, I don't know the evidence. If the evidence was there, we could say, yes, this is going on. We hear a lot of rumours what's going on, but I think it's a poor show, because I think if betting comes into the game, fair enough having a bet on a game if, you know, no one knows what's going to happen, but if players are being paid to throw a game, that's not sport for me, I'm afraid. I don't want to have anything to do with that.
You were never offered money to play, to throw a game. Now, going from South Africa to England as you did, that happened. Had you gone, say, from South Africa to the subcontinent, would you have been offered money to throw a game?
That's a very terrorising question. No, not at all. I just think that getting involved in betting and throwing games is not the way. And I think any sportsman caught doing that should be kicked out.
Kicked out.
So,
And on that cheerful note, it's time to wish Alan a future filled with big knocks. And I ask all Bughouse viewers, whether here in the Scare or there at home, to bang a couple of cricket protectors together as a way of thanking Alan Lamb.
Bat him at 4, bat him at 3, bat him at lunch, he'll be there at tea. He was the gun, his team's number 1. Alan Lamb, Alan Lamb.
And now it's time to welcome to the Spice Girls Split Scare, a woman who fills the air with a funky, fluid, flowing ripple of R&B that slips seductively into a syrup of soul. And her selection tonight in the Bughouse Rewind will sink a strawberry shake into that succulent stew. Ladies and gentlemen, you have our permission to let the hips meet the lips as you welcome to the Bughouse, Salisha!
You made me feel so right, right. And all I'm asking of you now is that you make me feel the same way you used to do. If you know you really love me, then don't hide the way you feel. No, all I need is a little something to make me feel alright with you, babe. Oh, I wanna go back. Let's rewind. You know I wanna rewind. I wanna go back. Let's rewind. You know I wanna rewind. I'm not trying to cause you pressure. I'm just trying to make things better for us, babe. So open up your heart to me. Let me know just how you feel for me. Oh, baby, if you know you really love me, then don't hide the way you feel. No. All I need is a little something to make me feel alright with you, baby. Let's rewind, baby. Surely can rewind, baby. Let's rewind.
British nation at the moment is being torn apart by the very emotional issue of hunting foxes with hounds and horses. I understand a private member's bill banning hunting in this form will be introduced to the Parliament of Westminster on November the 28th, and there'll be enormous interest across the nation in the outcome. Roy, where do you stand on this very emotional issue?
Fox hunting?
Fox hunting, yes.
I love fox hunting.
Yes.
It's a cultural thing.
Is it, Roy?
It's a bit like bullfighting, say, in Spain. It's very cultural, very poetic, very beautiful, and it serves as a very nice metaphor to establish human control over nature. We're not here to conform to nature, we're here to dominate it. And I love the routine, I love the ritual. I love getting up early and, say, having a big breakfast of steak, maybe a nice piece of topside. Raw-ish. Just pass it over the flame. A couple of sausages, maybe a couple of eggs. And getting together with about 80 mates on horses. And about 200 dogs. And chasing a fox. Yeah, in their white jodhpurs and the red clobber and the funny hat and... Nothing like it. So much fun. See, well, on the surface it looks stupid. And you feel a little bit stupid at first. But once you catch the bloody thing, whoa, that's when the excitement starts. You're just left with a sort of bit of suet with a tail. You know what I mean? And I love getting kiddies and smearing it over their faces, you know, a bit of blood, getting them involved. It's a beautiful sport.
Now, Roy, you've represented Australia at a lot of international fox-offs. You know, what have you taken from Australian technique to these fox-offs, and what have you learnt in your tours, especially here in the United Kingdom, that you've taken back and cross-fertilised or cross-pollinated with the Australian style?
Look, to my mind, it goes a little bit quickly. So I like getting the dogs and pulling all their teeth out. I mean, it's funny seeing a fox killed anyway. But seeing a fox sort of drowned in slobber. Sort of gummed into submission. It's an absolute hell. That's right. And you got about 80 of them in one little bloody fox. I tell you what's an added bonus too, if you can get a pregnant fox.
Oh, yes.
That's, you know, it's a bit, you know, people like veal. Dogs like veal, too, or sort of fox veal. You know, it's very, very nice to see the little ones gummed out.
Yes. Now,
lovely sport.
Roy, is there any way of making it fairer for the fox? I mean, you know, would it be better if somehow we could get all the foxes of Britain together?
Oh, yes.
In one spot. Say in Norwich, a pack of foxes and, say, just a couple of dogs against them and, say, an idiot on horseback, you know, with the tally-ho and all that sort of caper. You know, would that be a way of doing it? Or could we invert it and get these clowns on horseback with the dogs, you know, tracking down something that was really useless?
Well, like cats.
Well, cats.
Feral cats.
I mean, in Australia, we often have a redback spider hunt.
Yes.
Where we get a lot of people on horses and dogs and go after redback spiders. We don't often have a lot of luck.
No.
It's hard to flush one out.
Yes.
Because mainly they live underground or in toilets or places like that. Hard to get everybody.
You've got to have a backhoe and shovels.
Right, to really lure out the prey.
Yeah.
But is there any way of getting the balance sort of restored?
Look, I don't know. I don't think you can. You know, foxes, sure, they're cunning. But they're little. You got to have something bigger.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Can I suggest another thing? How about we somehow, on the, you know, the shallows of Cromer, lure in, or the wash when it's at low tide, lure in a couple of great whites, great white sharks, and put them out there and let the foxes and hounds and horses, sorry, the horses and hounds and the people
have a go at them,
and try and get them into the cooking pot.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, Sky Television.
So dogs sort of get shorter.
That's right.
I like squirrels too. I like, you know, just the other day I grabbed a couple of kiddies around here in Norwich, and we there was an Olympic pool that was empty, and we filled it with squirrels.
And what, just went in with a baseball bat each?
Well, that's not a bad idea. No, we just released dogs in there, greyhounds.
All right.
Greyhounds. And that was fun. It was just a bloody mess at the end. It was really fun.
And you have to pull
Kids
the
loved
plug?
it. But you've got to get those red fox... sorry, the red squirrels. The grey ones are a little bit too small and stupid. No, your red ones are better.
Yeah. Now, look, I know Britain is a very inventive country.
Of course it is.
And I'd love to see them come up with what I call, you know, a mechanical fox. Something that, you know, you could smear with that pheromonic gear your mate knocks up.
Oh, yeah. You spray it on.
Spray it on that makes, you know, men irresistible to women.
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Something to do with a fox, obviously, it'd be crazy to do it for humans.
Well, would you put human pheromones on a fox?
Well, then all of Norwich would be after it. You know, fox style. I mean, that'd be wrong. What I think you've got to do is get your mate to go back into the lab under the microscope and spot the fox pheromone that attracts the dog.
Oh, it'd be on the DNA there somewhere.
And
or you'd make it sweat. You'd scare it and scrape all the pheromones off.
Yeah, that's right. And then
put it in a tube.
And then
smear it on a mechanical...
onto one of those cars. You know, those little cars kids have that you can drive around automatically.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Wouldn't have people chase that.
Yeah.
With a horse.
Yeah.
40 mates with the red clobber and the big breakfast.
And the big brandy beforehand.
Oh, I forgot about the Totter Run. Yeah.
Totter Run, whatever.
Well, it's almost as stupid. But not quite.
Well, obviously we could talk all night because this is an issue that this nation is very aroused by.
Tearing the country apart.
Indeed, and that's what, you know, obviously, you know, we need to pour a bit of, you know, cold water and ask everybody to have a shower. And having solved this week's parliamentary puzzler, it's time to welcome to the Spice Girls split scare a man who was plucked, incidentally, from the icy cold Antarctic drink earlier this year. Nissan Cedrics, can you shout, "Man overboard"? And in the quiet that follows, can you inflate the rubber rescue dinghy of the Tony Bullimore story?
Trapped in a boat, upside down afloat. That's Tony Bullimore. Sunk in a yacht, then the world forgot. That's Tony Bullimore. Looking to sail in the mouth of a whale, just happy to be beneath the southern sea. Alive as you will, with a story to tell. That's Tony Bullimore. That's Tony Bullimore.
Thanks very much for coming in, Tony. Now, let's refresh people's memories, quite literally, and have a look at you in the drink off the Antarctic. I think we've got the Exide Challenger here upside down. I think by this stage you've come out from the front of the boat there where you were obviously laid up for 4 days, waiting for rescue. And here's an RAAF man out of the plane and swing. There's Thierry Dubois, who's just been picked up beforehand. And here you are planting a big sloppy one on the bloke you rescued. That's tremendous footage there. Given that a fair bit of time's elapsed, how do you look back on those 4 days?
Well, there's some good memories and bad memories. I mean, the 4 days I'll never forget, but since then a lot's happened. It comes back now and then. I've been given some talks at yacht clubs and dinners and things like that, so you keep on thinking about it. You can't get rid of it, you know.
And did you think you were a goner?
Yeah, I thought I bought it on about the 2nd or 3rd day. Things were getting rough. No one had come. You don't know whether your distress beacon is working. You know, no food, no water, that kind of thing. And you get moments, you know, you sort of stand there with icy water up to here, you know, and your body temperature's gone down, my fingers sort of cut off and things like that. Yes. My feet are pretty numb. And you say, well, I think I bought it this time.
Now, one of the interesting things from the Australian point of view with regard to this was the Channel 7 merchandising that rapidly appeared on you. I was just wondering how this deal was done for the Bullimore story and whether that Channel 7, with hindsight, made the best offer, because you seem to make up your mind pretty bloody quickly.
Well, no, there wasn't any offer. I mean, there was all sorts of things happened. Number one, I didn't know anything had happened like that at all. When I got onto the Adelaide, you know, I was just in sort of, I was sort of in a dream, you know. I mean, it was fabulous. I was saved there. And when I got closer to Australia, I got a couple of phone calls, and one or two people told me, said, don't talk to any media. You mustn't talk to any media, you know. And I said, well, I've already talked to loads of media, you know. And they said, no, you mustn't talk to anyone. You've got a surprise when you get here. And I didn't know anything about it. And then all of a sudden, I was given this baseball cap with a 7 on it, you see. They said, whatever you do, you've got to wear it when you get off the ship. I said, why? I want to wear the Royal Australian Naval Adelaide baseball. They said, no, you can't wear that. I said, well, I can, you know, that's what I'm going to wear. But anyway, I got talked into wearing the Channel 7 one.
What's your advice to people who find themselves in that position? Obviously not the 4 days in the boat, but who something dramatic's happened to them, and they do have a chance to, I was going to say capitalise on their misfortune. I don't mean that to be...
No, that's great. I know exactly what you mean. It wasn't really capitalising. I mean, the thing is, if I was a golf player and someone broke into the back of my car and sort of took my golf clubs, you know, in other words... nicked them, you know. Yes. I'm going to be in for, you know, not too much money, or the insurance will probably cover it. But there I was sitting on a boat that cost an awful lot of money, several hundreds of thousands of pounds, which wasn't insured because you can't really insure them fully in that kind of single-handed racing. I mean, insurance companies won't insure them no more than a Formula 1 motor racing car.
Tony, I spent a bit of time with Sir Francis Chichester when he came out to Australia in Gypsy Moth 4 some years ago.
You're old enough for that?
Indeed I was, or am. And the last thing he said to me was, Roy, never sail because it'll turn you into a cut snake. Are you as mad as a cut snake, Tony, for what you do, given what you do?
Put it this way, I like, you know, I like sailing a hell of a lot, and the kind of sailing I do, most people turn around and say, well, you know, he's either start raving mad or, you know, there's something else wrong, or, you know, whatever. But I've been happily married for 35 years, for instance.
How long of that have you spent at sea, though, Tony? 33 years?
33 years.
Tony, when you were, you know, trapped there in the boat, 4 days, you know, a bloke alone.
I know.
The mind wanders. Did you get aroused much at all? And, if so, how did you resolve it? I mean, did you form a sort of, you know, unnatural relationships with fish? Or what did you get up to, basically?
Well, you see, when I'm at sea, the first rule is that I eat very hot curries.
Yes.
I get a tin of corned beef, chop it up, chuck it in the frying pan with some onions and some chili powder, cayenne peppers and all that.
Right.
And boil up some rice. And when you sit there and eat a big bowl of this and...
Is it form a sort of chemical cocktail similar to bromide and takes your mind off?
That's right.
Is that the truth?
To it. You see, what it really does is that you get so hot all over, you know, with this curry powder.
Well, hot the back door, certainly.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Exactly. And it's like when you get this...
So you get aroused about 3 inches away from where the action should be, is
That's
that
right. Yeah. Something like that.
The round-the-world concept, Philippe Junto's round-the-world concept, you know, obviously not touching land, single-handed, all that, I mean, I think it's poorly conceived. I don't want to be critical of the whole thing because I think there's an aspect of it that we can redeem. But here you are, these blow-offs are conceived up here in Europe where they treat the English Channel, you know, if you went in the drink in the English Channel, somebody would be along in 30 seconds to pull you out.
Right.
When they go down in the Southern Ocean, there's not a person within, you know, people forget that there's not a person within 900 mile of you, 1,500 kilometres of you.
That's right.
It's pretty hard if you go in the drink to, you know, to fish the... look, there's not much going on in Australia in summer, and I don't think that I'd be, you know, the RAAF don't mind flying down 1,500 metres into Antarctic just looking for the odd speck in the ocean there. I think they like doing that sort of stuff.
It's a great exercise.
I think the thing that should happen is that the race carry its own dead. So as if somebody was in front of you or somebody was near you, they had to sail back and pick you up, right your boat and get you going again and back on in the race, because I fundamentally believe that being plucked out of the ocean in a helicopter should disqualify you from ever going to sea again. And you've got to have standards, Tony. The standards have to mean something.
Let me tell you, the first...
And you're not the first in this race either.
No, that's right. The first rule when you're at sea, especially in these not especially, in fact, it applies to anyone at sea, is that you always assist other people in distress at sea. And
well,
in
who
fact,
came to your assistance?
Well,
no one.
Hang on a minute. Before this happened, oh no, it was someone very special. It was the Royal
Australian Navy.
You know, that's not nobody.
They were
the race.
When I went over, Thierry Dubois, that's the guy you saw on there, he was only 30 kilometres from me, 20 miles, which was unbelievable because I didn't know he was so close to me. He didn't know he was so close to me either. It was
So you could have drowned together, had you not?
Well, we could have done. Put it this way, if it hadn't have been for Chief Petty Officer Pete Wicker and a couple of other people, we probably would have drowned. But
did you feel a bit sorry for Thierry Dubois? Because there you were, basically the most famous person in the world there for a week or so. And there was poor old Thierry Dubois. Nobody cared a bugger about him.
I don't know.
He was a bit like Buzz Aldrin, you know? He just didn't quite make it.
Well, I don't know. I thought what happened was we both went over in the same very severe storm. You know, and I think probably we were in the same kind of wave conditions, not the same wave. He put his life raft out. I mean, it was a little bit like a sort of, you know, a double act. You know, he put his life raft out, he then got out of his boat, you know, and he went to his life raft and half of it deflated, you know, and he was in despair. He had to get back to his boat. It took him a couple of hours. I mean, it was really, really distressful stuff. He got on top of the boat and he lashed himself to the rudder. And then eventually the Air Force, as you know, dropped a couple of life rafts. Then they sent a helicopter over.
So would you be telling Kevin Costner to talk to Thierry Dubois about a film rather than yourself?
Well, I mean, if actually what we were thinking of was doing a kind of double act, you know, like we put the two...
Do you and Thierry keep in touch? Do you phone each other every couple of weeks?
No,
how are you keeping?
No, not really, we don't. But you know this talk about Kevin Costner? You know, when I was in a bar in Fremantle, I'm sitting there, I just had my fish and chips down at the marketplace, and I'm sitting there having a pint, and everyone's talking about the film and Kevin Costner, you know. And I turned around and said, well, you know, okay, I don't look too much like Kevin Costner, but I'm sure, you know, we can get there. And then, you know, and then someone turned and said, hey, hang on a minute, it's not you. Kevin Costner wants to play the part of the Adelaide's captain, you know, and so that really got me all wrong, didn't it? But, you know, with this rescue business, I mean, number one, it is very much the, you know, the duty, for want of a better word, of other competitors to go and help other competitors who are in trouble. If I knew Dubois was in trouble, I would have been there. And I really know he would have been there for me. But we both went over. And then there was the question of people in Australia and in Britain and other parts of the world saying, well, you know, why should the Australian government foot the bill, you know, for all this? You're going down there playing mad ass stuff down there, you know, and everything else at the arse end of the world, as they say. But
a lot of the sponsorship you got out of it, Tony, you would have donated back to the Australian government, I dare say.
Well, on that super note, it's time to wish Tony a very, very dry future. And I ask all Bughouse viewers, whether here in the split scare or there at home, to start friggin' in the riggin' as a way of thanking Tony Bullimore.
Looking to sail in the mouth of a whale, just happy to be beneath the southern sea. Alive and still well, now out of the swell. That was Tony Bullimore. That was Tony Bullimore.
And now in the Spice Girls Split Scare, it's time to celebrate your endeavour with the Threads, because once again it's time for This Is Living. Yes, each week some lucky member of the Bughouse audience can go on a trip of a lifetime simply because they had the vision, the guts, the game plan, the drive from the back line to make a little bit of extra effort with their appearance here this evening. Before we go to this week's winners, let's have a look at the happy couple who greeted the judge this time last week. Right!
Yes, it was Paul and Denise, HG, and here they are in the Bughouse, and we sent them off, and they had a tremendous time. We can see them having fun here, co-hosting The Time, The Place on Anglia Television, where they did a very, very creditable job.
Yes, I was very impressed, very impressed.
Very impressed indeed.
Stapo will have to watch out.
Well, I think they made Johnny Stapleton look, well, I hate to say it, but just a little bit ordinary.
This week we've plucked these prizes from the jackpot prize pool. We've got another mascot from the games in the year 2000 in Sydney.
Dickhead, is it?
I think so, yes. And also we've got a marvellous jar to go with that, a Vegemite.
Yes.
A Snowy, an Australian Sim Snowy there. And something very, very special. Roy often does hunt kangaroos with the horses and the hounds. He got a beauty the other day out on the Lithgow Road. That's the Lithgow-Nuriutpa Road, for those who know. And he tanned the scrotum for you. There it is. It's a little bag that can keep almost anything in it. Tremendous work there from Roy. And look how good a job he's done on that, bringing that patina in the leather up beautifully. It's so soft to touch, Roy.
Yes.
Plus,
yes.
of course.
Plus, of course, actually, the happy couple this week get to examine the real Norfolk. Let's have a look at where we'll be going this week. You start off with Jim with Loyal Taxis via Ringland. And bloody hell, can Jim crank up a bit of speed around Ringland? Then it's off to the Wildlife Park.
Yes, tremendous wildlife park. Unfortunately, was shut the day. In fact, it's closed right down till spring. And then on to the dinosaur adventure, Roy.
Oh, the Tyrannosaurus Rex HG. So scary when it's open. Unfortunately, closed at the moment. The next season, it'll be there.
And then it's on to the Muckleberg collection. A lot of big things that go bang. What's the Muckleberg story, Roy?
Very big in the trouser was Muckleberg HG, and tried to evoke this with the sort of phallic imagery we'd expect in the Muckleberg collection.
Tremendous. And a highlight there is not the Harrier jump jet, but this, Rudin King's great-great-grandfather there. He fought in the Crimea War, and then it's off to the Wash, where you can get out with a metal detector and look for King John's treasure. And you find crackers like these, including a modern-day 20-cent piece.
Yes.
Plus the crabs of Cromer, Roy.
The crabs of Cromer, you'll see them pulled in. You can see the ash dropping off the cigarette into the crabs. They're a little bit too big for mine. I like them smaller than that. See that? They're over 4.5 inches. Far too big. But they are beautiful eating crabs caught near the sewage outlet there at Cromer. That's a female crab, I think. You can see there where it spores. And we might just have a look at the jack crab, if you don't mind. It's so beautiful. Imagine getting your tongue close to this little bugger. Imagine eating that one out. Yum.
And
beautiful.
And then the highlight of the trip is to see an equally matched pair of Cromer lobsters, very rare these days. And then it's into the shop, and all this is yours to consume. Yes, it'll be going in at one end and coming out at the same time while you consume that lot.
Yes, because this is living. How are you? What's your name?
Jeff.
Jeff and?
Liz.
Liz, are you locals?
Yes, we're from Norwich.
You're from Norwich. Well, you'd be familiar with a lot of it. Well, probably local people don't tend to look at these things, do they? Have you ever been to the Mickleburg collection?
No.
No. Well, there you go. Have you ever had Cromer crabs? No. There you go. Here we are. Enjoy yourselves. I'm going to give you £2 by way of contribution to the crabs. One each. There we go. Enjoy it, because this, down the camera,
This is living.
Norwich, what a place. I love its edge, I love its space. Norwich is a place to die. But for now, Norwich
And now it's time to welcome to the Bug House a man who was, and probably still is, the fastest man in the world over 10 metres. Oh, yes, if you want phenomenal foot speed, this man is numero uno. Nissan Cedric, can you take the pillow apart in straight sets? And when the umpire bellows game, set and match, can you jump the net in victory with a Pat Cash story?
the prospect of seeing Pat Cash. Pat Jack, his rush to the nets as good as it gets. Pat, dirty words, loosen the bong, unleash the tongue. Now Pat, tennis great, Wimbledon champ in Delos jam. Peter smoke out hash, is Pat a straight? It's Pat Cash.
Now, Pat, can we start by talking about this, the fastest man in the world over 10 metres? You know, I understand this was you went to training one day, you thought you had a big one in you, you pulled it out over the 10 metres, you claimed the record, I understand, from the Australian goalie in hockey.
Yeah, that's right.
And who owns the record now? Who's got the record now?
I've got no idea. I think he did, actually.
He got it back?
I think he got it back, yeah. I mean,
Right.
This is, of course, pre-injury time.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you think you'd go tonight if Roy stepped out, say, the 10 metres and we just ran the clock over you?
Not well.
Not well, yeah.
Not particularly well. I got to warm all the injuries up. You know, I mean,
Yes.
it takes me a good hour or two to warm up both knees, Achilles tendon, the back. You know.
And how
That
are
sort of
the
stuff.
injuries? This was the next question, really. You've introduced it beautifully. How many injuries have you had? What are you carrying tonight? How are they affecting your game?
Well, apart from the flu, I'm pretty good at the moment. Actually, I've been, you know, I had a knee problem which I sort of recovered about a year and a half ago, and I've been sort of, you know, plugging around the circuit, really trying to get into various tournaments, you know, trying to get the game back and, you know, give it a good shot again.
Would you like to get the 10-metre record back, though? I mean, I'm not sure how you measure it, what sort of, you know, .0000 fractions you need to get, but would you love to have that back? Is that one you're really after?
It would, no, not really. I'd like to get into a few tennis tournaments. That's what I'd like to do,
Yeah, no,
really.
obviously
Ideally,
everybody would, but, you know, if you couldn't get that, would you like to get the 10-metre record
It's a nice
back?
thing to have, yeah, for sure.
We've been calling for the 10-metre as an Olympic event. I think a lot of people would like to see it. Pat, your injuries, you have had more injuries than most players. This is because of the way you play the game. The explosive serve, the determination to get to the net as quickly as possible, the bending down to get the volley, puts a lot of pressure on the knees. One knee went, and then you had to use the other knee a lot more than the original knee with the service action. Then that threw the other knee out, then the back was thrown out, then the wrists went, the elbows went, shoulders were buggered, the back buggered up. I mean, is it the style of the way you... Is it the way you played the game?
I think it probably is, actually, yeah.
So you
Anything
go
else?
to... No, would you go to then changing the style of your game to baseline play?
No, I couldn't do that. I mean, first of all, I don't... first of all, I wasn't really brought up to do that. You know, I grew up on the grass, which was attacking sort of... I mean, to be honest, I really grew up in the clay, but I played a lot of the junior tournaments and whatever over Christmas time on the grass, which is no longer there, of course, in Australia. That we don't have any tournaments anymore. So, I developed an attacking style of game, and I really found it... I didn't really have the patience to hang around on the baseline, you know, in the clay courts and that sort of thing. I just enjoyed, you know, attacking and watching the guys sweat it out, you know, trying to pass me.
Well, that's what the public wanted to see as well. And that's why the public like you, they like John McEnroe, and they like Pat Rafter now, because you bloody well attack the game. You don't sit on the back foot waiting for the player to come to you.
Yeah.
They're personalities. Pat, you were a personality in the game. What's happened to all the personalities?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, this is something that the ATP and you know, the governing bodies are trying to work out.
I think they should marry tennis with the World Wrestling Federation, and I think that this would bring in and maybe introduce tag team concepts and have some characters. I mean, you know, the Road Warriors be the Nation of Doom at Wimbledon in 1998. Now, that could work.
I agree with you.
A black patch over one eye, a peg leg. OK, sonny, have a go at me. You might look fat, but I can get you with a kick like that, you know. That sort of thing, that could work. You know? I mean, there's no imagination.
Yeah, it's something to work on, really, isn't it?
Something to think about.
Can you see yourself coaching down the track, Pat? Can you see yourself, say, on a Sunday morning with a bucket of balls at the net and a lot of kiddies, hopefuls, hopeless down on the baseline, whacking them back at you? Can you see?
No, I couldn't actually, no. I wouldn't mind coaching. You know, I think I've got a lot to give, you know, a top player or a potentially top player, you know, just through the experience and, you know, through training and injuries and all that sort of stuff. And certainly the mental thing is so important for players. If you're going to be the best, you've got to be mentally tough. And this is where we've seen Pat Rafter, who's a tough player, and here in England, Greg Rosetsky, who is not the most talented player in the world, but boy, he's tough, you know. And you've got to be tough. You've got to be a real tough competitor, and that's the sort of thing I believe that is one of the reasons why I did well, is, you know, just because I was tough mentally. And that's something I could give to a player.
What about Pistol Packin' Pete? If you were to take...
Get with all of them in it and build our headquarters here. Underground parking.
For my first trick, I'll walk on stilts. Thank you.
And I'll prep my detonator.
Quiet in the house, please. This takes total concentration. Hey, Lenny, you better concentrate. Hang on. You're getting distracted. Pay attention, Lenny. Whoever's breathing loud out there, cut it out. You've disbalanced him.
That idiot's practically doing my job for me. He'll drive them to suicide.
I'll bet anyone here at 10 Spot he lands on his head. Any takers?
It'll be a public service to blow this guy up.
reach the top. How do I get down? No pictures, please.
Remember, folks, Lenny does not use steroids.
I'll never get sand kicked in my face again after this.
What strength.
Now, was it the red wire across the blue or the blue?
I better put this down. If I grow a muscle, my clothes will hang funny. Thanks for loaning me the ping pong balls, Dynamo. Boy.
Ha! He's just kidding, folks. Those are solid steel. And now, Lenny shares with us his wonderful voice.
Do we have a choice? There's blood on the saddle. There's blood on the ground. My goodness gracious, there's blood all around. Yodelay-hoo, everybody. My true love lies in it, all covered in gore. I guess she won't be my true love no more. Yodelay-hoo.
20 seconds to final detonation.
Intermission, folks. Eat, drink, spend.
Brits, the theater's emptying out. I'd better put the bomb on pause.
This fame stuff is nice, but I'm above exploiting it. Hey, pal, I'm the star, you know? Recognize me?
You want I should kiss your feet? Got a bit of trouble, Dynamo. Evil agent Clytus has set a bomb in the building.
He's not the only one. You've seen the show?
He's planning to blow the place up. You must stop him, Dynamo.
I have to be on stage. What about my adoring fans?
Come down to earth, Dynamo. You're the world's top secret agent. You're not a performer.
Everyone's a critic. Hey, listen to that. Must be applauding for me. I better get up there. Whoa!
Bullets everywhere. Gunfire. I'm in the jungle again. Oh, wait. Wrong flashback. That was my honeymoon. That's worse. I'm out of here.
Joseph. There goes Clytus. I must have scared him off. Thank you. I appreciate it. But saving all your lives and putting on quality theater is no problem for a bad, tough guy like me. Gee, where's everybody going so fast? I'll recite some original poetry, do some interpretive dancing. Hey, don't stampede. This is Dynamo Duck saying, be good to your animals. We're people too.
Sunday morning, the NBA on Fox Sports. No pain, no gain. It's game of the week time, live. They're pumped up, they're making the plays, they're in your face, and they're getting mean with the biggest jams around. Chicago head over to Washington. The Bulls, after a sluggish start, are picking up the charge and ready for the Wizards. Still hanging on for a winning spell. Check out the NBA. Washington take on Chicago. Sunday morning, 11:30 live, only on Fox Sports.
The most secret agent around.
A slick and tricky reek agent known as Cockeye has taken refuge in Sector 12D. It is my job to bring him to justice.
Step into the open and face me, you coward.
The intelligence brief says that Cockeye has poor vision, but this is absurd. And how?
For the last time, Dynamo, be a man and show yourself.
Would it help if I told you I'm a short yellow guy with a funny hat?
Yeah, right. There you are.
I'll make this short and sweet for you, Cockeye. You have until tomorrow morning to vacate this property or face the consequences.
I'll never leave, Dynamo, and Reek will never die.
Tomorrow, Cockeye. No sense taking chances. If Cockeye's still here in the morning, I'll be able able to move directly to Plan B.
Floor, please.
Take me to the top. A few pounds of high explosives should get this cliff dweller's attention. Thank you. But I'm going to need an ingenious distraction in order to approach the cliff in daylight. It's a good thing the ingenious part isn't up to me.
With vector nuances and free rotational spin quotients, our chances are better at crap.
Well, what are you working on, guys?
Mathematically predicting dice rolls.
The only time I gamble, gentlemen, is when preserving the world depends on it. When I go to the Chiefs for dinner.
Then we'll set our hobbies aside and render whatever technical assistance you may need.
Well, my oven needs cleaning.
By the way, Dynamo, I think you still have our special X-ray glasses.
Yes, I plan on keeping them till the end of the beach season.
Come to the point. You interrupted our dice game while I was on a winning streak.
What I need, men, is some kind of a distraction.
Oh, fine. I know just the thing, Dynamo. Have you ever heard the story of Trojan Horse?
From Troy?
From anyone. It's quite famous, really, as strategies go. DUX has its own version.
Error. You know, it looks a lot like my Uncle Rupert.
Edison wanted to use these to replace agents like you, but he couldn't program sheer luck.
Cockeye has such bad vision that this decoy just might cover my approach.
Warning, you are standing too close to the vehicle. Please step away.
The memory chip coordinator must be unstable.
Thank you.
We shouldn't have used my car alarm for parts, Edison. It never worked right in the first place.
No, here's the problem. The cyclogyric middle gasket is causing the thrust accelerator to burn right through to the control reactor loop, I think.
What did you say?
He said it's got a weak battery, Dynamo.
I have faith in you, fellas. Your work hasn't failed me yet.
Hello, the number you called has been changed.
You call that a battery problem?
Please hang up and dial again.
All right, Cockeye, your time's up.
Yeah, come and get me, Dynamo.
The green zone is for loading and unloading only.
What the?
Attention shoppers, there's a blue light special on aisle 5.
He's obviously trying to confuse me with gibberish.
My plan was working, but even with his bad eyesight, it wouldn't be long before Cockeye caught on. He was well known for his cunning.
One more second and I'll drop this rock on him.
Time for Cockey's last hurrah. Yowza.
Just one step closer, Dynamo.
Just goes to show you, good guys aren't the only ones with a plan B. The decoy performed wonderfully, Edison, even though the mission came to an ironic end.
What do you mean, Dynamo?
Well, there's some poetic justice to think one agent of Reek is out there somewhere.
Good, because you'll need to fill out a ton of paperwork to explain it to the chief.
Cockeye! Hey, Cockeye, where are you? Come on, turn yourself in already. Let's make a deal, Cockeye. I hate doing paperwork. Come on, Cockeye. Oh, where are you? Remember, be kind to all animals, including decoys.
Tonight on Foxtel at 8:30 on Showtime, go far beyond the everyday thriller with one pregnant police chief, one used car salesman, two desperate hitmen.
She probably wants a guy who's sensitive and honest. I can fake that.
Dynamo, wherefore art thou, Dynamo?
I'm right here by the pool. Where are you? Why are you talking so funny?
You're off duty?
I had to sneak away to see you. What number 2 3/8 doesn't know can't possibly hurt me.
Dynamo! I thought I sent you to stop Dr. Mortek from unleashing his Gamatron bombs and destroying the world.
Oh, get to it.
That's it. You're going to the barely affordable clinic for agent rehabilitation, and I mean it.
This is part of the job I have trouble with. Why can't a secret agent have love? I hope Barbara misses me. I hope she waits for me. I hope somebody turns off this sappy music. Oh, man. I gotta see her. I gotta see her in a bad way. I'm a duck in need. I said, somebody turn off this stupid music. Well, I did get out and reunite with Barbara. When number 2 and 3 Ace found out, he assigned me to our Arctic region outpost. This whole assignment is one big cold shower. Dynamo here. Animals will love you, but only if you love them back.
All about. What's it all about? First letter, first letter, first letter. Good girl, eh? Very good, very good. I know. You can have this later. What's the next letter? Next letter, Parrot. Next letter. Good girl, eh? L. Very good, very good. She's a good girl. Off you go to the top. Now then, the third letter, Parrot. Now then, have a little think. You've got an A, you've got an L. What comes after L? Come along, after L. That's good. That's very, very good. Off you go to the top. Now I want the one after F. After F, sit. Have a little think. What comes after F? A, L, F. I want it. Now come along. Come along. I want it. Now come along. I want it. Good girl, eh? Very good. Very good. I think you deserve that. Now then, Parrot. What's the last letter? Last letter. Yes, that's how I feel. Very, very good job. Good girl. Come on. Good girl, Parrot.
You won't feel like a fight. Now to count to 10, she has to take her gloves off. To count to 20, she needs her toes as well, and that's why. By the time she's taken off her gloves and tights, she doesn't feel like a fight. And if she does it in front of me, then more don't I. I went into Sydney Star, nipped up to Sue behind the bar. Said, the drinks are on me, I'll have 12 pints of the best. And would you care to join me, Sue? She said, I'll have a mouthful too. I said, don't be greedy, you'll get a pint, same as the rest. She said, you're so drunk you can't see straight. I said, I'll tell you something, mate. I can see the cat coming in through the doors at a nasty cloud. 'Cause he's only got one eye, and in that he's got a sty. She said, the cat ain't coming in, it's going out. On came the cabaret, and I swear that to this day, I've never seen an act that was quite so rude. On came a girl quite bare, and she had lovely curly hair. Like a little wild bird, she was in the nude. She had pigeons on her toes, a bird of paradise up her nose. She had a cock or two, it was bright green. On her navel perched a dove, and a few inches above were the biggest parakeets I've ever seen. Oh, so many girls in this great big world, and oh, so little time. If I was 3 and 23, oh, I would like it fine. But I'm married to a bag with a face like a hag, and oh, it's purgatory. Time's running out for me. Oh, there are so many girls in this great big world, and oh, so little time. If I was 3 and 23, oh, I would like it fine. But I'm married to a bag with a face like a hag, and oh, it's purgatory. Time's running out for me.
Bye.